Well, hey, and welcome to another episode of Beatles Dustino. And it was 60 years ago today. We're still celebrating the Beatles coming to America 60 years ago. So today, I guess we'd be the day after. I think it's the day after the first. The first Ed Sullivan show. But anyways, before we get going too much more, what we are going to talk about today is going to be my U.S. albums ranking video. I've been wanting to do this for a long while. As I kept pushing it back and pushing it back, I realized I was getting close enough to this date that I thought I'm going to do it. The kind of celebrating the 60th anniversary of them coming to America. As soon as that sparked off these albums coming out, so I'm going to do my album ranking on it. Before we get started with that, though, I do want to thank all my subscribers and thanks to any new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And do hit the notification bell so you know when I got my next video coming out. Also, please give the video a like. It really does help out the channel. And do leave a comment. I love having a discussion with everybody. But let's get on with my US albums ranking video. All right. So anytime I do one of these ranking videos, I do want to start out with a little disclaimer. It seems like you get people that are like, well, that's a terrible choice, stuff like that. This is my ranking. This is Beatles Dustino's US albums ranking. Not yours. If you like a different album, that's great. There's no point to watch this video if we all like the same thing, right? And that's why there's tons of these videos out there of, my top 10 favorite whatever, my top 10 this, my albums ranked in this order, my movies ranked in this order, my Air Jordans ranked in this order. Whatever you're going to be doing rankings on. I'm a bit of a sneakerhead. That's why I threw in the Air Jordans there. They're on my head right now, not on my feet. I'm actually wearing stockings right not my Air Jordans, but I'm thinking about them a lot. I've been hanging out with my niece today, and we were talking a lot about sneakers. So she's all into sneakers too. So, and Air Jordans and Beatles. Wow, what a combo on that, right? There was a Nike commercial that did feature Revolution in it, wasn't there? Yeah. So there we go, a little cross combination right there. But anyways, I'm really off the path here. But yeah, if you don't agree with my ranking, great. Just tell me your favorites. But don't tell me I made a terrible choice. I don't think you're going to make a terrible choice. Whatever. That's your opinion. This is my opinion. That's why we do this. Like I said, these would be no fun to watch if all had the same list. There'd be no point. If we all liked the same thing, there'd be absolutely no point. With that out of the way, let's get into the ranking here. So, of course, the U.S. albums came out, and they're a little different than the U.K. albums. A little different on some of the mixes, a little different on added reverb, maybe sped up. I was going to say slowed down, but I don't think any of them were slowed down. I think they were all sped up, if anything. And packaging may be a little different. Some of them might have the same title, but the album cover looks a little different. Stuff like that. And and some of them might have the same title, and the track listing is totally different. So, it's kind of been interesting doing this. I got into the Beatles in the 90s, so the CD era was well out, and that was what I was collecting at the time was CDs. So, of course, I was collecting Beatles on CD, and, of course, that would be the UK collection, the core collection that's now out, which did include Magical Mystery Tour, and I am going to include this in this ranking. I had it in my core album ranking way early when I started my channel. I'm going to keep it in this one too, just out of curiosity to see, because it ranked fairly low actually in my core albums, and people love Magical Mystery Tour, so why did it rank so low there? And I was curious to see where it would fall with the other US albums. So I'm so used to the UK listing and the UK albums, and getting to know, me being an American, getting to know the American albums, it's been a strange journey. Let's put it that way. Yeah, let's just get into it here. I mean, that's pretty much right. And we'll start with number 14. And yes, I should get into that too. I have included Introducing the Beatles. I've already said I included Magical Mystery Tour. I've included Introducing the Beatles, and I've included the early Beatles and Hey Jude, even though those are both kind of considered compilations. I've included them because they're as much compilations as this is, or the next one that's coming up, or the next one after that. I mean, let's face it, all the Capitol albums are compilations because they aren't what was truly intended to be. But let's get on with this. And as you can already see, number 14 is Help, the soundtrack version of Help. I think they do kind of, yeah, the original motion picture soundtrack. So this is at the bottom just because of what it is. The soundtrack, Yellow Submarine doesn't rank high in the core albums for me because of the soundtrack aspect. That's at least got George Martin scored stuff. This doesn't. This is not George Martin that scored the non-Beatles songs on here. Otherwise, it's the songs from the film, which are all great, and I absolutely love the music from Help. I'm shocked even my UK Help, though, didn't rank that high. I can't remember where it ranked, but it wasn't super high, especially considering how much I love this era. I really think the Beatles always say, and I say this all the time when I talk about this, but the Beatles always say it's Rubber Soul and Revolver kind of paired. I know even George Harrison, straight from his mouth, Martin Harrison, I'm getting them all confused. George Harrison, though, straight from his mouth, said that he felt like Rubber Soul and Revolver are kind of a one and the same, and I don't agree with that at all. I think it's a kind of a trio, starting with Beatles for Sale, moving into Help, and then moving into Rubber Soul. I feel like there's a very strong connection there. You can see the pattern of where they're going. I think going from Rubber Soul to Revolver, it's a giant leap. There's a nice gentle progression with these albums, but this really throws it off here. The Beatles stuff on here is great. It's just I'm so thrown off. I can't even listen to it anymore with the other stuff. The score stuff, it's not great. So number 14 for Help. Oh, I guess kind of some of the things I like. I'm not even looking at my notes here. The James Bond opening on Help is great. I do love that. It does feature You've Got to Hide Your Love Away and Ticket to Ride, two songs I absolutely love. But yeah, it should have been higher, but the instrumentals killed it, is my note there on it. So there we go. So leading into, and you're probably not going to be shocked after that, what number 13 is, but it is A Hard Day's Night. Also the original motion picture soundtrack. So same deal with this. It's got the instrumentals. It's got the music, the Beatles music from the film, but it's also got the instrumentals. Now, the difference is the instrumentals in this one are George Martin did those. And it is based solely off of Beatles songs, most of them. So it's just an orchestrated version of a Beatles song. So I think that's going to hold up a little better with me on that, between the George Martin thing and the fact it's a Beatles one. And especially I loved on here, all the Beatles songs are great. The instrumentals killed it again, is my note here. At least the George Martin produced versions of Beatles songs. And the Ringo's theme, This Boy, I absolutely love it. I don't know what it is about that. That is one that I absolutely love on this. If we're going to, kind of look at those. I do love that song. I love it in the movie. Whenever it's at that scene in the movie, I think it just brings me to that scene in the movie. That's why I love it so much. I love This Boy a lot anyway, the regular This Boy. So the orchestrated version of it is great. And George Martin did a great job on it. But yeah, I'm going to go there. Like I said, too, seeing this, too, I suppose you're seeing these are both UK titled albums, Help and Hard Day's Night, but the covers look totally different. And one day I am going to do an album cover ranking. I'm going to probably start with just the UK, the core album ones, and then I'll do the US ones on their own. And then I want to do a combined effort one too. So I do love this cover. That is kind of a fun cover. So moving on to number 12, and we're going to do the early Beatles up next. And like I said, we're kind of including compilations, and this definitely was a compilation. Very odd that it's the early Beatles, and yet we got a current photo of them, about maybe a half year off on that photo, and not 2-3 years off like the music on here. So today that looks like the early Beatles, yes, but at the time when this came out, that did not look like the early Beatles. That looked like current Beatles. But yeah, the early Beatles is going to be next. Starting out with Love Me Do. Odd that the next song is, or not ending with Twist and Shout. I believe that actually might be the next song on there, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, Twist and Shout would be up next. That's just odd. Twist and Shout should end it. Love Me Do is a great opener, but yeah, I don't know. Twist and Shout next. That should be an ender. It's such a... But anyways, let's see. I wrote not Please Please Me or Introducing the Beatles, so which really this kind of is. So within the matter of a year and so, you've got basically two of the same albums in the U.S. because yeah, this is basically a version of Introducing the Beatles, which is a version of we'll try that again, which is a version of Please Please Me. So it's neither of those. So So speaking of that, we will do number 11, and I've got Introducing the Beatles, as we're talking about that. It's basically Please Please Me. It's pretty much the same running order as Please Please Me. It's just missing a couple of songs. And the confusing thing is there's two versions of it. There's a version 1 and a version 2. I'm used to the version 2. I forgot to check, too. Version 2. Okay, I've got a CD, bootleg CD version of it, too. And that's version 2 also. So, yeah, so I'm used to the version 2. I think I'd like, just looking at this, Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You on there, I think I'd like that maybe a little better, the version 1. I think I might like that. I don't think it would help its ranking by any means. But, you know, the I Saw Her Standing There is interesting. That's one fun thing every time I play this one. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4. Or 4. And then the song starts. That's odd. I don't know why they would think that you would cut off. If that was there, it wasn't supposed to, they thought it wasn't supposed to be there. But why wouldn't you cut off the 4 also? At least leave on the 1, 2, 3. If Paul just yelled out 4, introducing the Beatles 4. Wow. At least they started it with that song. I think that is a great opener to the album. I think Twist and Shout is a great ender to the album. Yeah, that's why, I don't know. But that does make it fun. I guess, as I said on early Beatles, I said it wasn't Introducing the Beatles or Please Please Me. This isn't Please Please Me. All right, and up next, and I might get some flack on this one, but like I said, this is my opinion. This is my ranking. This album just didn't sit right with me, but I know a lot of people like it, and it is Beatles 6. I'd say highlights on it. I love I Don't Want to Spoil the Party. That's a great song. Words of Love. I love their cover of that. What You're Doing. I absolutely love that song. I know they said it was a throwaway song, but I love that song. I think what really got me into it is the Drive My Car, What You're Doing from the Love soundtrack. I love that mashup of those two, and that really lit me up to What You're Doing. And I've really loved that song ever since. Another note I got here is the great ending with Every Little Thing. That's a great album ender. That is Beatles 6, though, at number 10. And number 9 will be Beatles 65. Oh, there's some weird noise I just heard upstairs here. Sorry about that. I'll leave that in. I'm not going to cut that out. I'll leave that in. Maybe you can hear it on the film, but I don't know. I don't know what that noise was. I know they're cleaning or something up there, so maybe they were dragging something or something. I don't know. All right, I'm going way off the subject here. Anyways, we got Beatles 65 up at number 9. Number 9 starts basically like you're listening to Beatles for Sale. Pretty much it's Beatles for Sale, especially starting out. Yeah, side 1 is pretty much Beatles for Sale. Side 2, I think, changes up just a little bit. I really love this album cover. I think this is my favorite U.S. album cover, at least of their original ones, because Rubber Soul is different, but it's pretty much the same. But yeah, I would say this is my favorite album cover of theirs on the U.S. albums. I'll hold that up there for you just to see it a little better. But yeah, I really like this album. At number 9 here, I wrote on my notes here, Super Dave Dexter Jr. on She's a Woman and I Feel Fine. I mean, if you're looking for these to hear a little different, especially the UK fans out there that are watching this, if you're looking to hear a little bit different version of a Beatles album or a Beatles song, those two would be ones off of this album here. Even the mono version's got that heavy reverb on it, and it is just crazy. Like I said, I'm not saying that they're a better sound than what there is. No, I think the UK ones are better. But it's interesting. You know, every time you listen to it, I love listening to the Beatles, but every now and then you want just a little bit of a different experience. And that's one thing that's fun with these is you can put these on and hear a little different experience there on it. And you definitely get that with those two songs. So number 8, and this one I think is going to shock a lot of people too. It shocked me because there's so much hype on this album. But Beatles' second album, everybody says it's one of the best, and it really didn't resonate with me that much. I liked it. It's kind of mid-pack here, but it just didn't fall with me like the other ones did. On here, I got Money, That's What I Want. I feel like it was really reverby. It's really reverby even on the UK version, but this one, it seems like it's even more. I Call Your Name. I wrote that on there. I like that song. That's a fun song. I always think Beatle Dave's Beatles channel. Not Beatle Dave, Beatle Dave's Beatles channel. He always starts his videos out saying, I call your name, and he talks about his new subscribers. I think that's kind of fun. I think that's fun. That play on the words there with that. Yeah, it just doesn't hit me like the hype suggests that it should. Yeah, I'm a little shocked. But number 8 and number 7 is going to be Meet the Beatles. So the very first one here, at least on Capitol. I really do like Meet the Beatles, and I'm kind of shocked it's as low as it is, but I don't know. When I look at the other ones, maybe not so much. I don't know. But I really like what they did with it. Even though it is a different listing, it's kind of like With the Beatles, but slightly different. Again, let's see. It seems odd not starting with I Saw Her Standing There. I know I Saw Her Standing There is one of the tracks on here, but it's not the first. I think it's actually the second. Yeah, I Want to Hold Your Hand is first, and then it goes into I Saw Her Standing There. So you go, I Want to Hold Your Hand, into 1, 2, 3, 4. Again on this 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? I mean, that should start the album. Come on, people. And then the fact that it's This Boy is after that, and I Want to Hold Your Hand and This Boy were the single. So, you know, the A and the B side. So why not go start it out with I Saw Her Standing There, which is a great album opener. I think I Want to Hold Your Hand is a decent album opener too, but just if you're following up with what is a superior album opener, I guess that would be the best way to put it. And then you follow that song up with the B-side from the song that you started the album out with. I don't know where their logic was on any of this. So I guess I might be too logical for certain things, and that's definitely one that I can't figure out. But, and as we get going, there's definitely more on the logic end of it that I'm not sure on with this. But yeah, number 7 is Meet the Beatles. Yeah, great lineup otherwise. I really do enjoy this album every time I listen to it. But there we go. And number 6, so we're getting to the top 5. This one might shock people too. And I love this album cover too. I don't know, there's something about it. The fonts are so different. I usually don't like this if you got that, but somehow they really made this one work well with the way that they packaged it. The 2 different panels here and that. I usually like the picture a little bigger, but whatever. I still like this. There's something with the colors and the font and just everything about it is just fun. But we're not here about the album cover ranking. That'll be another day. But we're here for the album itself ranking. And this is at number 6. And I really think I don't think this goes in order of anything else UK-wise. But it kicks off with I'll Cry Instead, leading into Things We Said Today, leading into Anytime at All, and leading into When I Get Home. And I think that is a great 4-song lineup right there. And just kicking it off. And I think that's why this ranks so high. I look so forward to listening to this every time just with that 4 tracks they're starting out. I don't know. It's a pretty good setup here. Yeah, looking at everything else. It's a lot of stuff from A Hard Day's Night, which is kind of funny because Hard Day's Night in the U.S., of course, came out on United Artists, not Capitol, but Capitol wanted in on there. A few days later, too, they released something new, which had a lot of those songs off of A Hard Day's Night, and then added some more. But anyways, that's the Capitol albums for you, and the U.S. albums. Boy, confusing times. I've been living with these for the past like 3 months, and I don't understand it. But yeah, anyways, something new at number 6. I really look forward to listening to this album every time. So that one they really got the track order right on, I guess, is what I'm kind of boiling down to with my moral of the story. So number 5, we're getting into the upper echelon here. And number 5, we're going to go with another compilation. And I'm going to go with the Hey Jude, or Beatles Again. Definitely Hey Jude, I would say, is definitely the adopted name. But the only thing with this is such an odd start, kind of jarring. You go from Can't Buy Me Love and I Should Have Known Better. So kind of 1964 era stuff. And then you jump right into like 68, 69, 70 era stuff. And that's kind of odd. That big of a jump, considering how big of a jump every year the Beatles went. You know, you went from 64 to 65. That was a huge leap. 65 to 66, another huge leap. 66, 67, another huge leap. So when you go 64 to 68, that's a giant leap. And it's just, they don't fit well with it. They are Beatles songs, yes. They're great Beatles songs, yes. But they, just with these other songs on here, it seems odd. But it's not odd enough to put this lower than it is. It's not, I guess, good enough to put it higher either. Kind of an odd start with those 2, but the rest of the lineup is just great. I mean, Hey Jude, Revolution, Paperback Writer, Lady Madonna, Can't Buy Me Love, Don't Let Me Down, Ballad John Yoko, Rain, Old Brown Shoe. I mean, how can you go wrong with any of those? Just like I said, those 2 starting it off in such a different era going into yet a really different era. And then you got this as the album cover, and it starts off with Can't Buy Me Love. I mean, odd. And this one I think is going to shock people too. And my UK albums, the core albums, It's Rubber Soul is number one, Revolver is number two, and that could flip flop. As a matter of fact, right at the moment, I think Revolver could be my number one. So it didn't shock me too much when a version of Revolver, best way to say it, came in at number four on this. I really, it's still Revolver, is I think what I got on my notes here. It's still Revolver. It's just missing I'm Only Sleeping, And Your Bird Can Sing, and Dr. Robert. Nothing was added, unlike Rubber Souls we'll see coming up later, obviously. We haven't seen that on the list yet, so it must be higher than this. That had stuff added to it. It had stuff taken off, but it had stuff added. This had nothing added. It just had stuff taken off. So it had those 3 songs taken off. So you got 11 songs instead of 14 songs. It's still Revolver, though. It really is. It's still the same order, just missing those songs. Honestly, Dr. Robert, I could do without anyway. I still like the song. I guess it's just never a Beatles song that's really hit me that much. And Your Bird Can Sing, however, that is sorely missed. So I will give you that. That's probably one of my favorite Beatles songs. So, and I'm Only Sleeping, I've always connected with that song. So that's kind of missed too. But it was put onto another album, and it was put on early compared to what the UK got onto the other album, those 3 songs. So I guess we got a little consolation there in the US, even though our Revolver was stripped down. And that's what's kind of odd about it, is it looks pretty much the same and is titled pretty much the same, features the same songs minus 3, in the same order minus those 3. So, I mean, it's an odd one, but it still ranks as number 4 on my list. Still ranks very high. Not as high as the UK, though, does. So I guess that is one thing. The UK did trump out all those others. So this was the one I was really kind of curious on. So number 3, Magical Mystery Tour. Yeah. Number 3 on this. And I can't remember what it was on my core album ones. I know it was towards the bottom. Well, again, towards the middle, I guess. But so yeah, number 3 here. Yeah, there's really nothing negative to say about it. This was a really great job. This is one they really did a good job on. The only thing I'm going to get criticized on is the cover. I've never been happy with the cover. I love this bit. I don't like this bit. I feel like this, which is basically the EP cover from the UK, this is fantastic. But this around it doesn't look good to me for some reason. Now, I know there's that German version of it. I'll have a picture up there. That looks really cool. It's basically the same concept as this, where they put, some kind of bordering the EP one. And what they put bordering it looks so much better. That's my only criticism. And like I said, we're not here to rank the covers right now. We're here to rank the albums. And yeah, the music on this is just fantastic. I've really fallen in love with it. And I do think it is on my core albums. If I do a album ranking again on that, is going to rank higher. I've been talking for months, it feels like now, that I am going to start doing album reviews. And I am going to purposely do the Beatles stuff kind of in order of when they were released. And I'm really curious to see how this ranks in that, which, I mean, it's kind of funny to say I rank it if I'm comparing it to these, but if I give it a score, it might be higher than it suggests in my ranking. But we'll see how it all turns out with that. But anyways, Magical Mystery Tour, number 3. So we're getting down to the last 2, the top 2 here. I suppose everybody knows what's left, and we're going to come up with probably the most famous of these, or infamous, I guess. Unfortunately, I don't have the money for a butcher cover, so this is a trunk cover, and this is a true trunk cover, not a second, or was it second gen or whatever. Yeah, I've never got that into collecting a butcher because I don't have the money for it. I knew when I got this that this was truly a trunk cover, not a butcher cover, but the album never gets talked about, it seems like, and it's really a good album. It's an odd album, yes, because it's basically a little bit of Help, a little bit of Rubber Soul, and a little bit of Revolver, all kind of mixed into one. So like I said, those generations, the Help and the Rubber Soul stuff work well together. The Revolver stuff is a little odd in there, and the biggest oddity is Dr. Robert moving into Yesterday. Every time I listen, I'm like, oh, that is and I'm even used to it now. I'm used to it. I know it's going to be Yesterday's after Dr. Robert, and I'm still like, oh, that's a odd change there. But yeah, otherwise though, it's kind of a fun little mix there. Those 3 kind of mixed into one, kind of the stuff taken off of the others in the U.S. lineup and mixed into this one, I guess. So there we go. So of course, it's number 1 on my core album ranking. and its version in the U.S., Rubber Soul, is my number one in my U.S. albums ranking, Capitol albums. And I do got the Capitol album one here. You can see it's a little different because in the UK this would be kind of an orangish instead of the gold. Also the Capitol logo there instead of the EMI Parlophone. I guess that would be kind of a couple of differences on the cover. Otherwise, it's that fantastic cover. So it's missing Drive My Car, Nowhere Man, What Goes On, and If I Needed Someone. So 4 songs missing, but there were 2 songs added. And those 2 songs come from Help. And like I said, I feel like Help really led into Rubber Soul. Any of the Help songs could potentially fit very well on Rubber Soul. Rubber Soul songs could fit very well on Help. And even going as back as For Sale, Beatles For Sale, I think some of those could work together too. I think that's why Drive My Car, What You're Doing fits so well together, coming from on the Love soundtrack. And I feel like I'm really kind of rambling here, so let's get on with this here. I absolutely love I've Just Seen a Face as the opener. I don't miss Drive My Car as the opener with that. I think Drive My Car is a great opener. I've Just Seen a Face as a great opener too. And, you know, and here it was stuck to the very end of the Help album in the UK. But yeah, I guess I'm just surprised how well that works. I'm surprised how well It's Only Love fits into here. Another one from the Help soundtrack, or the Help album in the UK, fits very well into this. That was the other song that was added, It's Only Love. I almost, you know, how well I know these albums too. It fits so well, I almost don't notice that, you know, it's not jarring like, oh, wow, why is that there? Starting with I've Just Seen a Face can be a little jarring because I'm so used to that. And I just totally did that wrong. All right, but starting with Drive My Car and that opening line from Drive My Car and moving into and I've Just Seen a Face is so different on that, but it still is a great opener and it really leads well into the rest. Yeah, and when I get to It's Only Love, I'm like, oh wait, no, that's the other one from Help. It's not from Rubber Soul. Yeah, I don't know. I really feel like it's great, and I am going to probably one of these days do a deep dive into the 2 and kind of see where I feel that they come together. Like I said, I'm going to do that album ranking, and I'm going to develop a score to kind of score them out, and I'm curious to see how close the 2 score together, and if one does score a little higher than the other on the UK versus the US Rubber Soul. So we'll see when that happens, though. But yeah, that is my number 1. Absolutely love this version. I can see why Brian Wilson was so inspired, because he was inspired by this version, not the UK one. He was inspired by the US version, and to make Pet Sounds. So I can see what led it. I can also see the UK one helping him out with Pet Sounds too. But I love both albums. I really do. Yeah. I'm curious to see how they go head to head with each other. Seems my number 1 on their respective countries ranking. I'm curious to see how they do head to head with each other. But anyways, I am going to get wrapping this up. That would be it on it. I don't know what more there is to really say. It was fun kind of getting to know the different version. I'm looking forward to getting back to the standard version because it's fun, but it's for me it's this, you know, the core albums is the way I believe that you should go with the lineup on this. I'm a fan of the UK albums, I guess, let's put it that way. I grew up on them. That's what got me into being a Beatles fan. I should have grown up with the US ones, yes. But I don't know. It's just, I know they were always there for me, and I never got into them. But you know, I got into the UK stuff in the UK era when that was being kind of standardized around the world. Yeah, to me, any other version of it is a little odd. And like I said, you got stuff from 3 different albums, which some of those albums could be from such different eras. I mean, look at the difference on Hey Jude there, with the Can't Buy Me Love going into, you know, 64 era stuff going into 68 era stuff and 69 era. And I mean, that's a pretty jarring difference, especially with the Beatles. Some artists probably wouldn't be, but the Beatles, it's jarring. That's kind of odd. And I really feel like I'm rambling, so I am going to get signed out. I've delivered what we need to deliver for this. I feel like it's going on too long here. 14 albums is a pretty long album ranking video, especially if you do a little commentary on it all. So I am going to get wrapping up, and I'm even, ramble on. All right, there we go. We're going to get wrapping up. Totally. Before we do, I'm going to thank all my subscribers, and thanks to any new subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And do hit the notification bell so you know when I got my next video out, so you can listen to me ramble on at the end again. And also, please give the video a like. It really does help with the channel. And if you stuck around to this point, you must like it, especially with all this rambling. So please give it a like and do leave a comment. I love having a discussion with everybody. Let me know your ranking. Like I said, your choice is your choice. My choice is my choice. Let me know what you think. Are you kind of in line with me, or is there something different? Let me know if there's something I'm missing on some of those albums. Like I said, some of them just didn't hit me that well. I'm a little shocked with a couple of them, but tell me why you think that maybe Beatles' second album might be higher ranked for you. That one's the one that really puzzles me because I've heard so much positive about that one. But anyways, all right, I am rambling and I need to get signing out. I am Beetle Dustino signing out.